By fostering an open communication, implementing a centralized time off system, encouraging strategic planning, establishing fair policies, and cross-training and monitoring workloads, you too can strike a balance at your agency between employees' well-being and meeting our clients' needs. Hi, Bobby Fernandez here, performance coach at Agency Performance Partners. And today I want to talk to you about managing time off at your insurance agency. Let's face it, taking time off from work is essential to maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Leaders in agencies, it is really important to encourage our employees to take time off while also ensuring that their workload is sufficiently covered. And on the other hand, for employees, it's important to manage your time off requests with your job responsibilities in mind. But how can we all really work together to manage time off and make it a much smoother process for both parties? So I'm here to provide you 6 tips for leaders and 6 tips for employees to manage time off at your insurance agency. This is going to be so important right now. We're going into summertime and there's a lot of vacation time happening. We're also in an extremely hard market, so people are feeling overwhelmed and stressed out. So the first tip I'm going to give to you leaders is to plan ahead. It is so important that we encourage our employees to plan their time off in advance. That way we ensure that our team runs smoothly. By giving our employees enough time to request their time off, we can make sure that the appropriate work responsibilities are taken care of, that we are delegating tasks, or we're finding other coverage. And then it minimizes the impact to the whole team because of that employee's absence. We want to make sure that we're really working seamlessly together as a team and that everyone is feeling included and respected, and that we are making sure that everyone is aware of any absences that are happening. This is going to be really important that we encourage employees to plan far enough in advance to make sure that the rest of the team is aware and they can also plan their day. We're working with a group of professionals and everyone wants to plan their day. Everybody needs to make sure that they feel like they're aware and they're ready to tackle their day. So proper planning is going to be so important in what we do. We want to make sure that as a leader, tip number 2 is make sure that you are creating a clear policy. We want to be sure that we create a clear policy outlining the procedures for requesting time off, how much notice is needed, the process for finding someone to cover the responsibilities during an absence. I'm going to give you a few steps on how to create an effective policy to consider. So one might be consulting key stakeholders, involve human resources, involve management, involve the employees in the department that we're talking about. We want to be seeking feedback so that we make sure that we're addressing the specific needs as it is concerned to the agency and the entire workforce, not just a single individual. Then we want to be able to make sure that we're creating clarity and accessibility. Ensure that everyone knows where this information is. You want to have a policy that is written in clear and concise language, and that way it is understandable for all of your employees. You want to make sure that you make that easily accessible, put it in the employee handbook, post it on the company's intranet. It is going to be very important that they have access to this information. Then we want to make sure that we communicate and we train on this information. Once the policy is established, you want to make sure that you communicate it to all of your employees through meetings, through emails, or training sessions. You want to provide that opportunity for employees to ask questions and clarify any doubts that they might have. This is going to be super important that everybody knows what is expected of them. And then you want to regularly review that policy. You want to make sure that periodically you're checking to make sure that it remains up to date, that it's aligned with any changes in potential HR laws or company practices. And then you want to make sure that you're soliciting feedback from your employees to identify any areas of improvement or where you might be able to make some revisions. By having a clear policy, it will ensure that you can establish the framework that really promotes fairness and consistency and efficient time management of time off requests. And that's really what you want to do. We want our employees to take that time off. We give it to them for a reason so that they can come to work and be their best selves and show up each day. And if we give them the proper time off and we give them all of the tools to take that time off, then that's going to really ensure that great positive work environment for the overall success of the agency. And that's really what we're here to do. The third tip I want to give you is to be flexible. We need to understand as leaders that employees may have unexpected events that require them to give short notice as a time off. And so as a leader, it's really important that we be flexible and accommodating when it's feasible. So encourage open communication. When you encourage open, honest communication between your employees and your leaders, it creates an environment where employees feel more comfortable sharing their personal circumstances. And then you can really plan for those unexpected events that may require short time off notice. You also want to make sure that you're evaluating each case by case. Assessing each time off request on a case-by-case basis really considers the nature of each situation and the overall impact to the team's workload and the overall impact to the agency. So while it might not always be possible to grant every time off, which we know we really want to do, but we really need to understand what is going on. And we have to make sure that we're evaluating them individually because that really demonstrates fairness and a considerate approach. Then we really want to think about cross-training and redundancy in our agency. We want to develop a cross-training culture and redundancy within the team. This ensures that if multiple team members need to be out, but they're familiar with other tasks and responsibilities, it really becomes easier for us to accommodate those unexpected time off requests without compromising any of our productivity or our quality of service. And then we want to make sure that there is flexibility within our policy. Review existing time off request policies to ensure that they include provisions for unexpected situations. Consider incorporating some provisions for some short notice time off requests and provide guidelines for how those things are to be managed and what your expectations are. And this will really help your employees to create a situation where they are really trying to do their best and they want to meet the needs that you have and they want to do what is expected of them, but they need to know what that is. And then you want to make sure that you're establishing a support system and backup plans to manage unexpected absences effectively. And this could include cross-delegation of tasks, temporary reassignments of activities or suspenses, or potentially utilizing temporary staff or contractors to fill in gaps during employee absences. Sometimes we have long-term extended absences that maybe it's not going to be our team that's going to cover those. And so we want to make sure that we have a plan for all of those things. But by embracing the flexibility and accommodating unexpected time off requests when feasible, we can really create a work environment that promotes our employees' well-being, their engagement, and their loyalty. It really fosters a positive team dynamic and strengthens the trust in the team and in the agency and contributes to overall success for our agency. The fourth thing I want to give you leaders is to lead by example. And this one might be difficult for some of you. Take time off yourself. Encourage other leaders within the company to do the same thing. As a leader, when you prioritize taking that time off and openly communicate the importance of work-life balance, you are setting up a positive example for your employees. And I know that that's difficult because who's going to do our job when we're gone? But if we use these strategies and we really implement a backup plan, someone else is going to do the tasks while you're gone. You need to be the one to show your team that you value and respect the need for personal time and well-being. And so by you practicing what you preach, you create a culture where employees feel empowered to prioritize their own work-life balance without any hesitation or guilt. And so you need to be a good leader and step up in this way and take that time. The fifth tip I'm going to give to you leaders is use your technology. Use scheduling tools. Shared calendars are a great way for teams to have visibility into time off and what's going on with other team members. It's so important that teams are aware of who is taking time off and when. That way they can plan. And it makes it easier for everybody to jump in and be involved. There are so many scheduling tools out there and many integrate with other systems. These integrations a lot of times can be seamless coordination. So really look into the things that you're using and understand how we're going to use those things and how we're going to schedule time off and how we're going to notify everybody. You need to make sure that you are utilizing your agency management system to ensure that tasks and activities and client expectations are all being met. This is imperative to ensure that balls aren't dropped and important customer expectations aren't missed during time off. I cannot express how important this fact is. We need to be entering all of our information into our agency management system in real time. And we will talk more about this and the expectations when we get to the employee section of this podcast. But I want you to understand that we need to be putting information into the system as real time as possible. We want direct entry. None of this works if we have notebooks sitting on desks that we're having to rifle through or having to understand somebody's file structure in their email or where they put something. Our emails should be cleaned out before our teams go on vacation. We need to make sure that everything is in the agency management system so that way team members are aware. Are there any pending tasks? Are there any deadlines that need to be addressed before or after time off periods? If you're interested in learning more on how your agency can become more efficient, check out our agency efficiency course, or you can click to book a meeting with one of our consultants and we can help your agency get to that efficiency where you are doing direct entry into your system and you are on the up and up and know exactly what's going on with the client at any moment. So the sixth tip I have for leaders is to have a backup plan. You need to be prepared for unexpected staffing shortages. And I know that they are unexpected, but we all know that we're going to have call outs. People aren't feeling well. Maybe their kid is sick. We have dog problems. We have car issues. So I'm sure that you guys could all tell your favorite last minute time off request story. I have mine too. And if you want to hear it, you can reach out to me directly. I'm not going to tell it out in the universe, but I'll tell those of you that want to know individually. But you need to have a backup plan. You need to be prepared for those unexpected shortages in your staff. Having a backup plan and a pool of really reliable employees to cover when those things come up is essential for effective time off management. It ensures that all your tasks are getting done without disruption, that you're maintaining productivity, and that you're still providing that awesome, consistent customer service. Effective implementation of a backup plan requires cross-training, clear communication, regular evaluation of that plan, and make sure that you're appreciating those who are taking on those backup roles because it's super important. It really encourages others to do the same thing. Ultimately, having a backup plan for your agency is going to enhance your agency's ability to handle time off requests and unexpected absences efficiently and effectively. And this is going to be so important. So I hope that you leaders enjoyed this information and that you can go back and implement those 6 strategies at your agency. If you need help incorporating backup plans in your agency, you can feel free to reach out to us, and we are happy to help you do that. We have our paid content, which is our job descriptions, which is also a great way for you to make sure that you are combating workload backlog during time off periods when you're integrating that expectation into a job description. Be wise about that and let us know if you need help. You can click down below and schedule a meeting with us anytime. Now, moving on to our 6 tips for employees. I'm going to start with 1, plan ahead and communicate with your team. Whenever possible, please make sure that you are submitting your time off requests as far in advance as you can. We know that there are going to be times where you're going to have to request time at the last minute because there's an emergency. If you can plan in advance as possible, it allows the agency to redistribute workloads, to reallocate resources, and ensure that our client needs are met without any disruption. And so it's going to be super imperative that we really try and plan ahead. Once your time off request has been approved, it's essential that you communicate effectively with your team. So make sure that they know that you have an upcoming absence and the duration of your absence and any relative details that they need to know. Be proactive about discussing any ongoing projects or tasks or deadlines that need to be met. It's going to be super important, and it'll be really a nice way to build that teamwork and build that structure and make sure that you are communicating with your team when you need to be taking time off. It will really help them feel more bonded to you, and you guys will be able to work more seamlessly together. The next thing I want to talk about is utilizing technology. Technology is a great asset in managing time off. You want to make sure that you're using your autoresponders. If you're using any kind of scheduling apps where maybe clients can still book appointments with you while you're out, that's really a great way to stay on top of those things. Work can really be done through a lot of technology enhancements, and it not only helps our team maintain productivity, but it also gives your clients a peace of mind that their needs are still being met even though you're not there. It's really imperative before you take your time off that all of your correspondence is attached in your agency management system. I'm going to say that again. It's imperative before you take your time off that all of your correspondence is attached in your agency management system. And you don't have any client information lingering in notepads, in email, or anywhere else you might have it, on a sticky, on your monitor, those kinds of things. So please make sure all notes pertaining to clients should be thoroughly documented so that when you are absent, other team members covering your workload can efficiently help your agency's customers without having to run over to your desk and shuffle through a bunch of paperwork or try and figure out a file structure in your email. So your emails should be at 0. Before you go on vacation, there should be nothing left in your email inbox and your email sent box. I don't encourage a ton of folders, right? We don't want to have things lingering in folders. We need to be having everything attached to the agency management system. I've done a pre-time off checklist in this blog for you. I'm providing this for you just as a way to give you some items to think about before you take your time off and to check those things off. But I encourage you to, pull that down, make it your own, add the other things to it that you know that you need to do before you take time off. So I included things like, add your out of office reply on your email and make sure that you include an alternative contact. Update your voicemail with your out of office reply and make sure you have an alternative contact. Make sure your email and your sent box are at 0 with all items attached in your agency management system to the client. Make sure your voicemail box is cleared out of all voicemails. You want to make sure that everything is handled and attached appropriately. This ensures that when your team, if they have to go to look for something, they know that it's something new that's already been done and they don't have to go back and try and recreate and retell a story. You want to make sure that you provide any client updates for ongoing projects or things that may be coming up during your absence. This is just setting your team up for success and making sure that your client gets the service that they're expecting. You also want to make sure that you're providing any necessary usernames, passwords, if required, to your manager. The last thing you want to do is have a client come in and need to potentially sign an application on a carrier's website or something to that effect. And now nobody can get into the system and all of that work needs to be updated and redone again. Make sure that you're providing all of the tools that anyone might need in order to effectively manage your desk and manage your work and effectively manage your clients while you're out. And then update your backup on any special project needs or client updates. Just give them the rundown. Hey, this is where we're at. This is what's going on. The other big thing that I really want to make sure that you're doing is reviewing all agency management system tasks, activities, whatever you call them in your system, suspense, whatever it is. You want to be looking out past your vacation to when you are coming back, working ahead. Okay. Work those things out ahead of time and then reassign anything that you can't work right now that will need to be worked while you're out to your backup. And then anything that is not urgent and can be followed up on after your return, then push that out to after your return. But make sure that you're managing those things because what we want to happen is you to come back to only things that you need to handle when you get back. We don't want you to come back to a big backlog of work. And the reason people come back to a big backlog of work is because they did not set themselves up for success before they took the time off. So these are the strategies I'm giving you. Point number 4 is to be available. Make yourself available for questions and requests leading up to your time off. As your time off approaches, want to make sure that you're proactively communicating with your colleagues to let them know if there are any questions, concerns, anything they may need to know before you leave. Encourage this open dialogue and assure them that you are there to support them. If there's any ongoing tasks or projects that are going to need or require your expertise, make sure that you provide your colleagues with guidance, instructions, or documentation to assist them in handling those responsibilities. You want to make sure that you're sharing your notes, your files, your resources, anything that they need to be effective. It really will empower them to confidently handle those tasks without relying on you being immediately available. But by making yourself available before you go and providing that guidance, you're really fostering an open communication. And you're enabling them to seek your guidance, addressing their concerns, and they'll be there to handle your tasks effectively while you're away. If you work in this collaborative manner, it really ensures that workflow remains uninterrupted and it really helps to build a culture of trust and support and teamwork within your agency. My 5th point is have clear communication. I know we've talked a lot about communication during all of this, but communication is so key. So effective communication is crucial when it comes to managing time off at an agency. Ensuring that you have communicated well enough with all of the team members who are taking over your responsibilities and your manager. Make sure everyone is very clear on their roles and what responsibilities they have. And make sure that you're following any tasks in your agency management system up to them accordingly so that they can just take that ball and run with it. It really creates a smooth workflow when you do that by clearly communicating. Everyone involved has a clear understanding of what needs to be handled, and it minimizes any disruptions to your team's productivity. And it also maximizes your customer experience. And then it helps you share your knowledge and expertise with everybody because that's normally your accounts and you know what's going on. And so it's going to be a really great time for you to be able to set those expectations to make sure that your team can still be providing that wow customer service, even when you're not in the office. And then it just reduces stress and confusion for everybody. Make sure that you're really taking the time to build that trust and the collaboration with everybody in the office. Now, the sixth tip I'm going to give you is to prepare for your return. When you come back, you want to make sure that you are preparing for your return. You want to catch up on any missed emails or tasks. You want to review your schedule, prioritize any urgent matters. This will really help you hit the ground running and stop you from feeling overwhelmed upon your return. You're going to want to catch up on your emails and on any communication. You're going to want to review any ongoing projects or tasks, activities. You're going to want to check your schedule, make sure your schedule and your meetings, see if you have anything coming up. You're going to want to prioritize any urgent matters, reconnect with any of your colleagues that were doing any backup for you while you were out, and then get your workspace back in an organized manner when you've just come back from work, and then really mentally prepare yourself to come back to work. By preparing to return, you can really effectively transition back into your responsibilities and ensure seamless continuation of work. And it helps you to avoid feeling overwhelmed or disoriented. Sometimes we all get that kind of vacation hangover when we come back from work. And so we want to make sure that we're coming back in a really strong way and that we're ready to work. It really allows us to quickly catch up on missed updates, prioritize our tasks, and be ready to jump back in and really contribute effectively to the team and the agency. In conclusion, I hope that you all really got a lot of tips and tricks out of this session that you'll be able to go back and implement right away. Managing time off efficiently at an insurance agency really requires a lot of collaboration and a lot of effective communication between leaders and employees. And by fostering an open communication, implementing a centralized time off system, encouraging strategic planning, establishing fair policies, and cross-training and monitoring workloads, you too can strike a balance at your agency between employees' well-being and meeting our clients' needs. Remember, a well-managed time off process contributes to a healthy work environment and enhances overall productivity and job satisfaction. I hope that you really enjoyed this podcast. And if you need help establishing any of these things in your agency, maybe you need some assistance with job descriptions, or you're looking for some agency efficiency tips on how we can do direct entry into our agency management system, how you can set up work groups, all of the different things that we talked about here, feel free to book a meeting with one of our consultants below. We also have our agency efficiency program that you can buy and do directly in your agency. And we've got some really great tips and tricks there for you as well. So I really appreciate you spending time with me today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.